Well, hello everybody. My name is Arnt Baer. I'm working with Gelsenwasser AG, a local public utility which is seated in North Rhine-Westphalia, in the heart of the Ruhrgebiet, the old industrial sector in North Rhine-Westphalia, which is the highest populated local government in Germany. I'm very happy that I have the chance to talk about the capitalization on energy efficiency, even though I would have preferred to see every one of you face to face, but in these challenging times, it's better and of course the right way to do it like this online. Nevertheless, topics are still there. And of course, after the pandemic, there's going to be a huge challenge when it comes to climate goals and to climate transition. And one part of that climate transition will be energy efficiency as one of the main pillars for the energy transition away from the fossil fuels to the renewable fuels and to a brighter future. Well, it's very difficult to make money of capitalization of energy efficiency. We are dealing with 32 local communities, and for at least 5 or 6 years now, we are in very close contact with the governments of the local districts in order to find ways to do energy efficiency, to work on concrete projects in order to find ways to lower the energy consumptions. We're coming from very high political goals on a national, but of course, too, on a European level. For 2030, we want to cut greenhouse gas emissions by, it was 40%, now it's 55%, what the European Council is proposing. We want to reach a share for of the renewables by 32 degrees. And of course, we want to improve the energy efficiency by 32.5%. On this chart, you see the German goals, which are quite the same, not perfectly the same, but it's very ambitious too. So what are we doing now? We have the efficiency networks, which have been supported by the federal government, at least in the first phase of this project. We are dealing with the local authorities, the guidelines to exchange with them in a network in order to find ways and low-hanging fruits for lowering the energy consumption. There are certain ways to do that. We find at least 5 anchors that are worth mentioning here. The first one is detecting energy consumptions in local buildings. Often there's energy system which is not perfectly balanced in schools, kindergartens, and these are the traditional public buildings. And you can find consumers in these buildings that are consuming very high, and by detecting them, often on a digitalized way, it's easy to stop that consumption and to find changes. So the housekeepers were getting knowledge from us. They were educated by Gelsenwasser, and that was something that was a success story. I think I can say that. Well, there are customized action programs which are different from community to community. There are claim fundings, which is a certain very specific way of making progress. So I don't want to go into detail with that, but of course, anything that is interesting for the viewers, I'm very happy to talk about this, and just call me and I give you some more detailed information about this networks. So when we watch the second of the three pillars for the European Commission for efficiency is, of course, the production and the usage of renewable energy. There is still the idea of electrification. Any sector that is using energy, especially buildings, industry, but of course transport as well. We are dealing with housing as a main part. So what is interesting for us is how is it possible in the future to do renewable projects? Of course, it is possible to do money with that, to make money with that. We all know that there is a feed-in tariffs since 1995, which have been decreased with every new charter of this Renewable Energy Act, but still it's possible to make money with those projects, but it's getting more difficult year by year. We have two showstoppers. The one is the costs for the whole society, which is still costs by the transformation of the production side. We're still talking about 20 billion euros roundabout per year. And this is happening for 10 years now, and we're not sure if the political will is big enough to cope with these costs every year. I hope so, because we finally come to a point where renewables production is challenged, what is competitive to fossil fuels, and even not only wind, but even photovoltaic is going to be the main production source of the future because of that. So we're still investing in wind projects and in bigger photovoltaic projects because we believe in that, but it's difficult and it's very challenging, not only because of the cost, but because of the acceptance of the people that makes it very challenging to communicate about those projects. When we look at the heating sector, which is one of the key sectors for a player like Gelsenwasser, who is mainly active in the gas sector, and we can see that we have little reductions on the CO2 emission sides for now 20 years. The reasons are very well known. It is a difficult sector. It is up to the people. There's very much players. So it's all understandable, but we have to do progress in the building sector. We have a steady renewable rate at about 1%. It increased during the last 2 years, but it's still about 1.5 degrees renewables rate, and it's much too low. So what are you going to do about this? There's two solutions that are still in the discussion. One is electrification, and the other one is green hydrogen. Let's say both apart from the chances of energy efficiency, which is still important, of course, in the heating sector, but the potential is limited because of the costs and because of the difficult discussions that we are dealing with when it comes to installations. So that the idea of this panel is low-hanging fruits. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I think we still have a chance by transforming oil-heated heating systems, of which are still existing about 7 million in Germany, to transform them into newer heating systems that might be heating pumps, and it sometimes can be, of course, gas heating systems. We have quite a good view on which places in what streets there are gas grid networks, where it would be very easy to get those low-hanging fruits by giving incentives for the people to build up a new heating system, just more modern. But there's not the programs at the moment, and it's not a political will to do that. What we try to do is sector coupling, which is key. Sector coupling has different ways to do that. Main part that we are dealing with is district heating. There's local heat in housings and industrial areas that can support climate protection if it's done right, if it's analyzed in the right way, what kind of heating system and what kind of usage of fuels is best for that constellation of the area, of the age of the buildings. So it's a lot of factors that are very important for this. So there's not an easy way to dealing with to do that, but it's good for an energy company because it's complex, and I think because of our experience, energy companies are the right ones to deal with complexity. So heating networks, intelligent identification, and of course e-mobility and LoRaWAN, which is technology for intelligent solutions in order to steer the heating systems, what is very important when it comes to cogeneration, for example. On this chart, you see some case examples of Gelsenwasser. I won't go into detail because I do just have 15 minutes, but let's say there's a couple of projects that we're doing now in older buildings, in new build sectors in cities, which is quite interesting. Those three are more villages, smaller cities, not very highly populated, which is different than in highly populated cities, bigger cities, of course, where our heating systems or district heating is, of course, more useful than the projects that we do on the countryside. The third pillar that everybody's talking about at the moment is green hydrogen. I personally think that this is a great opportunity for not only for the industrial sector, but of course for the heating sector too, to decarbonize to much lower costs than by electrification, because the political will is there at the moment. We can use the networks that are lying on the ground. We can have progress very fast, and we do have very ambitious political programs with the European hydrogen strategy and with the German national hydrogen strategy, which is quite ambitious as well. And we do have, for those who are interested in that, even a hydrogen roadmap on a regional level of North Rhine-Westphalia. Like I said, a very highly industrialized region that have huge potential for using hydrogen for decarbonizing the industry. So we do have to do large-scale use in all sectors. There is a hen-egg problem because the production side has to be built up as well as the application side. We all have to deal with that and to do projects to learn and to prove to the politicians that it works. And if we can do that, I'm very positive that the 2 or 3 questions that still have to be addressed when it comes to the political framework will be solved in the nearer future. So what we as distribution grid networks have to prove is that the technical solutions are there, and we did that. We are dealing in a couple of networks that we're proving that it's possible to use the lying grids by transforming a little bit some of the components. In some places, it's not necessary to change something at all, but it works. And you can transport the green hydrogen through the gas grids to the people. And the key questions that still have to be addressed is where's the hydrogen come from? So the availability. Will it be just blending, or will we start by switching over to 100% with regional parts of the grids? What we're going to do with customers that need pure hydrogen on a very high quality level, how we're going to deal with them, what's the right product for those mainly industrial customers. And for the heating sector, very important, how H2 ready are the applications. That depends on the age of the heating systems. But I learned from my partners and friends from the heating sector that there's the older generation of systems that can deal with 10% blending. The newer ones can deal with 20%, and the next generation in the future will mostly be able to use 30% hydrogen by blending into the gas grid. So it's going to be a bright future for green hydrogen. So we can stand on 3 pillars when it comes to the end. I think energy efficiency is key, is important, of course. There is high potential in a housing sector, but it's limited. It will not be the the only solution because of the costs. So we have to build up renewables. We have to do it faster than we are doing it now. And we have to learn to deal with green hydrogen, to build up a hydrogen market, and use the line grids in order to decarbonize, especially the heating sector. So this is what I wanted to say about this. Thank you for giving me the chance to talk about this topic, and stay healthy, and greetings from North Rhine-Westphalia.